Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Primo quarterly update. This is the end of the year quarter. And we have really exciting features to share with you. Those are the highlights for this release. We will start with gather some ideas coming from several ideas coming from the idea exchange leads us to born this feature of applying action in a bulk in the brief results. We will show you how the workflow for user in the discovery can be improved from the brief results. We will do a demo for that. We are also happy to share with you the voice search assistant in Primo. So we will have a new microphone and first ability of using speech recognition, speech as assistant for search, as a speech to test. We will do also a demo for that. Next is a nurse enhancement coming from you, is the ability to improve the email format and allow library to customize it. So we also share what are the options for customization and what we did and what is the out of the box that we are providing, what is the out of the box template. I want to share that with this, the apply action and the improve email template now, we are able to give much more good experience for the patron that would like to send for email a bulk of records, either from brief results or from the favorites. So this is like a very good story in this release for the workflow of the customer. Next item to share with you is another option to display a subject in the full display. Currently is only a subject with one link in one line. We got requests for customer to have the ability to display the subject as a chain, and we will show you that. In addition, we also, as part of the openness of the product, we are also enhancing the Primo REST API suite. Now, this time, we are opening the Resource Recommender API. And so you can embed this either from library portal and maximize the effort that you did for the resource recommender, even using the API, not only on top of the interface. And I will also share a very nice enhancement with the Primo VE. So please stay tuned and focus. Okay. So before we start to deep into each feature, I would like to just have to put you on the timeline. The Primo November release is going to be start rollout on November 10th for on the sandbox, and we also until the general release that available for local customer on December 8th. As for Primo VE, you can see here both November release and December release. November release is already released to the sandbox, and on the next week it's coming on production. And December release was a little bit earlier this year because of the holidays, and November 17 is going to be the sandbox installation. Okay, now let's move to the feature. So applying action in a bulk in the brief results. Now, we are allowing user to select multiple items from the brief results and the ability to apply action, as you see at the top right corner here, the hint for the user to have those action either the save to my favorites or export to refbox. The link that I put here is actually linked to your idea that help us to combine all together which action we would like to provide. And we are allowing most of the actions are allowing to apply on a bulk of records, same as we are doing in the my favorites, same as we did in the my library card last year. So now we're improving the workflow also from the brief display. So as you can see, there is the checkbox, and I will do a demo. You can either check an individual selection or you can check the entire page. And in addition to that, we also add the option to do up to top 50 results. So I can have, when I attempt to select a page, I get a hint that I'm selected a 1 record or 10 records, depends. And I have ability to apply the actions on the top 50 results. Even if they are not loaded on the screen, I can apply this functionality on those results. So with this, we actually really improving the workflow of the user for later interest in the records, push those top results of these of the interest search that he performed. And one more thing, because before I'm doing the demo, we are also taking from the idea another thing to enhance with the ability to save to my favorites. We also, for signed in user, allow the user to better organize their saved item in the favorites. So once you are clicking and attempting to save several items from the brief display, the add to favorites will display you the widget as existing in my favorites, with the ability to either add to favorites as used to be, or to add to favorites with a label, or if I already had existing label, with an assigned label. So from the brief result, I can group my items, my interesting items, into the label and better organize my save items. Okay, so let's do a demo for that. Okay, so let's imagine that I am, actually I wanted to do it in this environment. Let me log into my demo environment. Okay, so let's say that I'm interested in virtual reality. Okay, so those are my search results, and I can see that I can have an individual selection of one of the item. As you can see, when I scroll down, also have this sticky. I have also this sticky bar that is helping me to know that I have one selected. I have the ability to select hold. As I said, when I attempt to select all pages on the first time of individual one, I have the option to, I have hint to select the choose top 50 results. And I can add any, and I can send it either to one of the citation managers, or I can email me. I can send in email one of the action, and apply any action. Oops, sorry for the multiple clicks. And I can do that. Now I can, if I manage to sign in, let's see. So if I'm signing and I'm searching for virtual reality and gaming, for instance, I would like to save to my favorites a few items. And as I mentioned, once I've selected a few items as signed in, I will be able to add to the favorite with a new label, or can I use the gaming effects on kids and add it to the research that I already are doing. And while doing so, I can add to my favorites items that are already labeled with this gaming effects on kids. So what I've demo here is right the ability that we had in the in the my favorites coming into the search results and helping me either better organize my saved items, better apply action on top 50 results. So if I'm a reference librarian, I can choose top result and email it to the patron that is asking for help for later to be introduced. Actually, this is the demo that I want to show, and how we combine several ideas into these features. Okay. Another thing that I want to mention, we are only allowing apply action on the brief results up to 50 items. If users select more than 50 items, We are advising him to edit his selection to up to 50 items. Anyhow, if he is going to add any action for that, we are going to use to reference only the top 50. Currently, with the November release, we are not supporting the selection from the brief result in the mobile. This will come on the next quarter, on 2020. With more mobile improvement. As you can see here, we are going to optimize the way we are allowing either filtering, either checks, either personalized. So more mobile enhancement is expected to come, and we combine this feature as well with this. Okay, next. Next is what we want to call, you can, Primo is now listening to you. So we have this voice search assistant. We are now offer a speech recognition in the interface by adding this microphone here. By the way, I forget to mention, I put here on the, on the side when the feature is going to be released in Primo and when it's Primo VE. So apply action that I talked before is available both for Primo and Primo VE on the November release. The voice search assistant is coming in with Primo November release, is out of the box, and for Primo VE on January release. So as said, back to the cool voice search assistant. So we are offering this speech recognition by adding this microphone. And doing that, we are actually allowing our today learners to use speech use their speech to text as a search assistant as they are used to do in other sites in the web. So we are putting it here. We know that in certain browsers, also when you're searching and open the keyboard, the microphone is available. We choose to put here on top of the search, on the search bar, the microphone for easy and to be able to have a much more modern site. Let's do a demo for that. Okay, so you can see here the microphone, the new microphone icon, and I will click here and Primo will start listening to me. Voice assistant. So as you can see, my speech was translated into the search term, and Primo behind the scenes also performed the search term. We can also add a language that are to the micro. We can also add the language that are correlate to the same language as defined in the display languages. Let's move back to the presentation. So as I say, this is going to be enabled by default. We are supporting voice search in other languages. It's going to be correlated to the same one that are defined. If you are interested in new languages, we are actually using the voice search API supported languages, and we mapped it to the Primo languages. So if additional languages require, you can open a case to support to add it to the mapping, and also make sure that you are configure this language in your Primo languages mapping table. So this is for that. I must also mention that this is actually the ability to use speech recognition within Primo is actually the first time that we are using browser API. So we choose to have the speech recognition API as one of the API, the first API to use. And in order to be able to apply this functionality, it's actually we are depending on the browser to apply on the browser that choose to implement out of the box a web speech API. You can find in the web which browser are supporting speech recognition, speech API. We are using the common standard API, and as I can tell you, it's going to be available on Chrome, for instance, perhaps in Firefox, if user choose to activate the microphone. So it's going to be over time on gradual rollout, depends on browsing implement the voice search API. Okay, next. Next is your nails enhancement. That is finally we managed to do that, and we work very hard to provide you with a really nice email template out of the box. and the ability to have a customization. So with this enhancement, actually, library can now customize the style and the content of the email that are sent by their patrons. And as said, we are going to provide out of the box new HTML. You can also be available to see and those HTML, and we put them on the GitHub. So you can get those HTML and try to attempt to create your own HTML. You can choose to do it based on our template or create your own style. Our out-of-the-box HTML template actually include the customized logo that you put for your site, and we make it we make the email template very similar to the way the brief results the brief results look like. As said, you can create your own customized template and upload that, and I will show you how. So if a user chooses to email one or two records or bulk of records, it can actually, and when sending that, it will be able to see this nice HTML template, which is going to be include your logo, the note that a user can, a signed in user can add. A guest user won't be able to add this note, and the display of the brief results with a link to the full display. And I will discuss what we are allowing at the end of the slide of those features. And we also put a disclaimer that you can edit at the disclaimer at the bottom, then you can edit from confidential, legal, and or virus-free perspective. We add our own text. You can edit it to your own. So this is the out-of-the-box email template that we are combining. And as I said, it's also available in the GitHub to take. We are also providing you a way to customize your own template. Of course, we are recommending to use the out of the box, but we do aware the needs of the custom of you to change it. So here I put some example for customization option that you can do. We are allowing you first to take the out of the box, or you can take the brief display, the out of the box, and choose to have fields. Here in this example, we added the fields, the subject field to the brief display, so you can see the customized logo, the link to the title, the data that we are displaying, and additional, an example can be found here to adding a subject, and down below the disclaimer. So this is one example. So with this example, you are doing like a small touch up and minimum change by adding fields that are actually based on the PNX data. Okay, and we are using here we are maximizing the Primo directive of the brief display. We are also aware that customer would like to maximize other directives, so we are supporting also, we are giving an example for how details, if you would like to have in your email template visualization that is more similar to the full display details view, you can also have an example for that here. So this is a template that is based on the directive of the details with the ability to add additional fields, custom fields based on the PNX, and the availability line. So it's actually a puzzle where we are supporting some kind of directive that you can take in your own template, the brief display, the details, the availability line, and you can add any other fields from the PNX, and just you need to make sure that the data is okay and normalized for display. We are offering the ability to use the brief display and the details because our code is already maximized and take care of normalization of the data, and so you are getting it ready out of the box. Another option that you have is to use your own template, completely your own template. This is an example for taking a template from the internet and just using the title and the description down here below. So all of the information and the guidelines and all of the information and guideline how to customize your own is already available in the GitHub with an example for those free templates and our guidelines. We will also have a dedicated session and webinar for customers that are interested with Primo development, where we can share what are how to do that. Okay. In addition to that, we are also allowing you to upload the email template in the Primo admin, or when you are customizing, put it in the customization packet. And we can also offer you a way to do it via the Primo Studio. So just going to do a quick demo for that. So via the Primo Studio, we now added a new email tab, as you can see here, and you will be able to play, you can play with the email via the Primo Studio. For instance, we created some mock-up we can get some mock-up PNX where you can easily preview. If also you can also where you are applying changes, you can also get back to the Primo and use the email action and play with it as well. Let's do a quick change. Like I want the background to be gold. I can change the background color and apply my temporary changes. So I'm easily can go and change the preview of the email. And I can also change completely the HTML. Once you are complete your work, you can approve the template and download it, take it to Primo to upload it yourself in the Primo admin, or if you already confirm the approved template, you can download the entire customization package and edit over there. All of the guidelines are available through the GitHub. Yeah, we put here an email template with an explanation, an example how to use and direct it and customize that. Okay. Okay, just a few things before we move to the next item. We do support localization for the email template. You can support localization by either create a dedicated email HTML per language, or if you want a one email HTML, you can also use the translated directive. So it's up to you. As from security reason, we any link that you are going to put in your customization template is going to be removed. We only allow link for the full display that we are creating on the server side, and this is of course from security reason, not to have a links that we don't know where they are putting from. From the same manner, we also choose to have an email disclaimer at the button, and you can edit it to your own. As I said, this email template is supported out of the box. So until you figure out what customization, we are giving you a much more improved format, which is non-text, and you can start with this one. If you choose not, you can have the ability to roll back and use the previous one. We do have some limitation from performance consideration of the ability to maximize an email and render on client side the email format. We allowing to send 50 items, up to 50 items with those customized email template. Anyhow, if more items are going to be sent, Primo will send it, but it will send it in the basic format, so we will be able to deliver the email. You may experience, well, you're sending like a 50 or 40 item, it's a little bit slow, and we should manage to do a lot of optimization. The send action will not be available. It will hint you that the processing email if you are sending a bulk of records, because it takes time to render to the customized email all of this. Okay, so this is about the email template and support customization, and say we will have a dedicated feature highlight on that. Okay, and another thing, this was about email sent from the patron. There is another email coming that Primo is sending, which is the saved alert email. And this, the optimization that we did here is we improved the format and style of the saved alert email to be like this. So we are going to use your customized logo, and you're also going to have a much better saved alert email, same as we have in other sites for RSS and other. So this is going to be the list of items that are new for this search and ability to link to the search, and a much more nice way to have the click here to unsubscribe. This request was also raised in the idea, so it's actually improved format for the saved alert email. We don't have the much capability that we did for the email that's sent from the patron from many reasons, but this is the improved format and out of the box that we are releasing as well. Okay, next item is the support display of the subject name in the record for listening. So up to now, when we display the subject, we display each subject in a separate line with this link, with the icon of the link. So we got a request from customer that work very hard to connect subject to one another, and that we call to have a chain of subject. And the way that the Primo new interface break into the new line actually harm their tough work on the subject. So now with this release, we are actually providing a better way to display a chain of subjects as shown here in one line, where each subject can be linked, and you can control each subject with those $Q parameter and play with it, what to display, what to be displayed, and what to link out. So this is the ability. In order to apply this, you will need to change normalization rule and change and apply, choose the delimiter to use, and tell us by configuration that this is the format that you would like for your local catalog when displayed the subject. So you are welcome to try this display of subject, adding with the one line and each link in each subject in a separate link within the one line. Okay, next, we are enhancing the Primo REST API suite. With this release, we are enhancing it for the Resource Recommender API, as we are the first exploration service that we are putting as an API available for you. With this API, you are actually getting API all of the recommended resources that you manage to configure per the search term. So it's actually maximize your effort the huge effort that you did where configuring the resource recommender and make it available for you to use not only in the Primo interface, but on the other sides like the library portal. In addition to that, we also enhanced the favorites API. Previously, we only exposed the ability to get my favorites. Now we are also have the ability to add item or save, add item, delete, or add item with a label, an existing item with a label. So those API are now available and can be found in the developer network starting with the November release. Okay, now we are going to switch to the update of the Primo VE. So in Primo VE, we are now exposing the new feature of browse journals by category. This is coming in November release. I will do a demo for that and explain how does it work behind the scene. We also have the option to display Primo VE Analytics widget, a discovery widget on the Alma dashboard. You will better monitor also discovery from the Alma homepage. Also coming in November is the multilingual support, the ability to have per the user language interface the value, the relevant value for subject and offer. So it's supporting the multilingual authority. In the December release, we are going to have in the Primo VE the deep search on other Primo VE institution. That means that one Primo VE institution can search in other Primo VE institution. The target Primo VE institution will actually need to configure on which search profile those institutions will allow to search, and which institution they are allowing the search on, and then the source institution can search on one Primo institution and can search on others. So this is coming on December release. In addition to that, we are going to have in December release the full text indexing for the Alma digital items. So we are going to automatically index digital items. That means you can index a PDF or textual files or images that contain text. The text can be extracted from them using the OCR, and this is going to be automatically indexed into the Primo V index. So this is coming on December release. And in addition to that, we are also using the take advantages of the platform. This time we are enhancing the virtual browse to use not only browse by holding call number, but also browse by bibliographic call number, and this in order to help the virtual browse to include electronic material in this feature. So I will have a dedicated slide to explain more on that. Okay. So let's start with the browse journals by categories that is going to be released in Primo November release and later in 2020 for Primo. So we are going to enhance the journal search page, and you can see here with journals by category. And allow Patron to navigate within the categories up to 3 levels of categories, and to browse journal, to search for journals that are correlated and mapped to this category. The mapping is using the HILC, which is a hierarchy classification library of Congress classification that is actually a human readable one. So we use this HILC in order to be able to map a category to 3 levels of a journal category to 3 level categories. And I will show you an example in the next slide. So the tree that we are seeing here is actually will be relevant for all of the journals that the institution have holding for, and category information in existing is in the expected fields. So this of course was voted, coming from the idea voted very highly, and I would like to do some drill down into the how does it work behind the scenes, and I'll discuss then later the rollout for it. So just to better understand how it works, so if we have a journal that have a LC number cataloged in this field, the 50 Mark 21 field, what Primo is going to do behind the scene what Primo V is going to do behind the scene is to use the mapping that I've discussed, the mapping, as you can see here, in order to translate the code to 3 level categories. So let's take an example that we have this QR6 as LCC number classified, cataloged for this journal. So what Primo is doing behind the scene is checking that this code is actually in the range of this classification, and if so, is taking this category level and building building this path to be displayed for this journal and to be searched for. When clicking on this level, this journal will be one of the journals that appear in the search result. So this is a little bit details on how we use the HILC in order to build the mapping. And before I do the demo, I just want to talk about the workflow. So we are already did a pre-calculation for all the journals that exist. For any new updates, for any new journals or updates that you are doing for your holdings, we have this job, the category file job that is going to be run on daily basis. And this is going to be enabled by default for any Primo VE customer. If you choose to disable this, you can you have the ability to do it in the view configuration. Let's do a short demo for that. Okay, so we are in the journal search interface page, and what we can see here is the journal by categories and all of the categories that are built. I can now select one of the level here on the tree, and Primo VE will search for all of the journals that were mapped using the HILP to this category 2-level path category. And you can see all of the journals that are found for this architecture. Okay, next. Next, we are now giving the library the ability to more easily manage and track discovery usage from the homepage. So now you can create a widget, and each staff can add it to the dashboard. As you can see here, an example from the Primo search action users, part of your Alma homepage. So this is a really nice analytic enhancement from the Primo VE user. Okay, next item is the multilingual term support. So what we are now, with this enhancement, Primo VE will now allow to display per the language of the user interface the value of the offer or the subject if we do have a hint for those languages in the catalog. And there is a really nice configuration that can done for that. So for instance, if I have a hint for the languages for the subject, and I have a hint for the languages, up to now, all of the languages were viewed in French interface. I managed to see both French interface values and other languages. Same goes for the German interface. We're talking about displaying the subject and creator either in the full display or in the facet. Now, with this enhancement, we are offering a new configuration, a much more easier one that can that can help us to hint to configure the language hint to the user interface languages. So I can also choose if to do it for display or for subject. So I have the field subject. I enable it either for display or either for facet. I have the ability to add a condition that map the hint the hint of the that I have in the catalog into the German interface, and the result will be that I will have only the the French value for subject in the first interface and also for facet. So for the display, it's going to be online when you're doing that. For facet, it's going to be we have out of the box normalization rules to apply for supporting the multilingual, and you can go to the release notes for more details on that. Next, coming also from the idea for the Primo VE is the ability to add another field, the requester note field in the purchase request form. So with this, actually, librarian can see the reason for adding more information for the patron to add to request for this chat. And so it's this is disabled by default in order to enable customer need to library can add this field, the requester note, to the purchase form, and then library will be able to get in the requester note field in the Alma the indication of the reason that the user choose to request for this to have this purchase request. Then again, this is raised in the Ideas Exchange and is coming in the November release. Now, one more thing to mention in the Primo VE is about taking advantage of the platform. As I said, we are now enhancing the virtual browse not only to work for holdings, to browse for holding based on their holding codes number. We are also giving the ability to a virtual browse on bibliographic headings. So it's going to serve electronical materials. So it's up to the library to based on how their data is classified to choose how to configure the virtual browse. We are actually taking the advantage of the Alma platform and the Alma capability of browsing either by bibliographic aiding or browsing either by shelf listing. So this new option is aligned to optimize the virtual browse based on the capability of the browse that existing in Alma. And it's up to the library to choose what is more suitable, what browse functionality is more suitable for their data. This was raised in the Idea Exchange and now coming into the product with the December release. In the Primo VE area, we also add the ability to publish material to Google. So in Primo VE now there is a new job which is actually the sitemap job, where library can choose a set of records based on the search profile, and to choose to publish this set of records to Google. Um, as you can see, there are up to 3 jobs that are available. Each institution can choose to have up to 3 scope for different material. This is the ability to activate and publish the sitemap is also depending on our deployment for dynamic rendering. Dynamic rendering is actually technology capability to help Google crawlers to crawl Angular material. And by the end of the year, this is going to be deployed for all Primo VE customer. For the Primo customer, it's going to be deployed by the end of by Q1 for multi-tenant, and gradually roll out in Primo in the year of 2020. So a new sitemap allowing VE customer to choose to publish the records into Google is coming with the December release as well. Now I want to go into more additional and notable items that we are adding. And just to mention, we also add within both Primo and Primo VE release the ability to add the sort in the collection discovery. Sort is only available by Titan and the relevance, and is available. It's going to be activated for sub-collection and items. And the reason that we don't have much more sort options, same as in the search result, is because we include also a sort by sub-collections. So to support that, we have only sorts by title and relevance available, coming in the collection discovery in the November release. We also add a small icon change for the reference, as you can see here. And additional thing that we change is the ability to add a new status, which called here in the loans, in the My Library loans, which is called pending approval. Up to now, we have an renewed or not renewable. Now we are also adding pending approval. This was done in order to avoid confusion for the user. And it's especially relevant where your user is actually request for a loan from item that is borrowed from resource sharing. You used to get a renew status, although we know that the process behind the scene between the library and the partner library is that the request was pending approval. So now with this enhancement, we are actually giving a much more accurate status for the user, which is called the pending approval. So this is in Primo, we are aligned with it in November. It is going to be turned on. The Alma API are going to retrieve us the status of the pending approval starting of the Alma December release. So more update and an ongoing improvement. With this release, we also had a bulk of accessibility items fixed. We already put it in the roadmap and already update the roadmap with the accessibility that are fixed in the November release. We also support a Dragon voice recognition software. In this release, we worked hard to also match the Dragon voice to be familiar with Primo, and it's now available. In terms of performance, we did optimization to the load of the full display. It used to wait until it bind all the services that are coming. Now it's no longer wait, and it was optimized. In Primo VE, we did a lot of optimization for the response time for the search. The facets should come much more faster. We did some optimization to the fulfillment and to the open URL. This is going to be reflected in the opening of the service page, and more details in the release notes for that. In the analytic area, besides the analytic widget that is available for the Primo VE, we are going also to publish an article how to add a timestamp to reflect how recent your report data is actually is. So it's also coming. And Also, that is covering all of the updates that I wanted to share with you. Sneak peek for the next quarter is in the next quarter we are going to have this enhancement of sticky facet. We're going to, based on your request on the customer feedback, we are going to make the users of sticky facet more clear for the user. Up to now it's by hovering with the open access, so we are going to have a remember filter that cross searches can be stayed and tuned based on user selection. We are going to have the quick view, the Alma Digital Viewer as part of the full display. We are going to have an improvement to the user experience for mobile device based on user study and customer feedback. We're going to improve the way Primo is acting in mobile. We're going to have additional generic deep search plugin. That means the ability to have Primo search in other sites if other choose to implement the Primo REST API suite. So this is also coming in February. And in the Primo VE, we're going to have in consortia the ability to view the other institution, to have the view it from other institutions for the Primo VE. So this is about what is coming in the first quarter. I also would like to have a reminder that is also CDI is also coming on 2020 with a much more significant operational efficiency for a customer when activating, with much more infrastructure for developing smart services. I put those slides in order to remind you and to let you know about what is the enablement process. It can be either institution can choose to switch over in the time that I'll show in the next slide, and there's going to be a general switch over for that. And this is the timeline from 2020 for the rollout of CDI. So we are starting and we are going to update each quarter what is the status of the CDI. And if you have any more questions about CDI, you can use this email, CDI info. There you can use all of the articles that are in the knowledge centers about CDI and all of the webinars that we already did for that and are coming next. In terms of, so this was about a reminder for CDI being released and being rolled out in 2020. I just want to mention that we also have an upcoming webinar. We have the Customer Success Center, the session on December. We are going to have also a content webinar. We are going to have a Primo show and tell on the email customization on December. And of course, at the beginning of 2020, we're going to have the Primo quarterly update, and we are also working on the roadmap. So we are going to have also the roadmap overview webinar and available during January in the Knowledge Center as well. So also, another thing that I want to mention, the one that are attending Charleston, I just want to mention that we have Christine Stone representing us in the Charleston and having a dedicated session on the Central Discovery Index. And there are much more activity that we hope you are aware of, and you can see the list of them here. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. It was a long session, but we are excited to introduce those features. Please welcome, you are welcome to send us feedbacks and activity and keep on submitting your idea. In this release, we have a lot of ideas of coming from you, coming into the product. So thank you and see you on the next session.